And we are live. Welcome into the Make It Take It podcast. Today is Monday, March 4th. We are into March. I'm your co-host, Matthew Byrne, same as last week, joined alongside co-hosts Ethan Mazel and Adam Oppenheim. We got Aiden Mattel pushing the buttons. Guys, how we doing today?
I'm doing good. Nice day outside. Very, very warm. How are you?
It's a great day.
That's right. This podcast is being hosted on the campus of Indiana University in Bloomington. It is going to be a high in the low 70s today, which we definitely very welcome. There was some cold weather last week, but it's starting to heat up, and hopefully it stays that way. So today we're going to be talking about the NBA, kind of as always. I don't know why I said that. But that's why you're here. That's why you're listening. But no, we're going to do our usual segment of cleaning the glass. And I think we're actually going to we decided that we're going to talk about that for a majority of the time, just because it seemed like a very eventful weekend in the NBA. Lots were going around in different areas, kind of similar to Monday's show last week as well. And then we're going to just do the usual, at the buzzer, here's what to look forward to. And I'm going to give you the best picks for games to watch. Don't listen to anybody else on this panel because I'm just the best at it. I have the best eye for it. So let's get right into it. What do you guys have about some things that caught your attention over the weekend?
I mean, we can start off just because the last group didn't talk about it. Thursday, Wizards-Lakers overtime battle. Really an electric game. I just really enjoyed that game. That's all I had to say about it.
All right.
We can go into the weekend now.
Adam, keep it going.
I'm going to talk about the Celtics.
Please do.
And it was more that they faced the Warriors and beat them by 52 points. And it's honestly not because I'm a Celtics fan, because the game was more of a mental thing for the Celtics. But the Warriors got to find a way to stay in the playoff picture. Same for the Lakers. So every game is massive. And the whole strategy to sag off Jaylen Brown from the three-point line in the first quarter was such a dumb decision. I mean, what are you doing? And when Draymond Green was asked about it, he said, we came up with it about 15 minutes before tip-off.
Yeah, that was just a real. I was watching the clips and the highlights of that. That was maybe just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. The final score of that game, just to give you an idea, was Celtics 140, Warriors 88. I mean, that is just absurd. I mean, that margin's absurd, but just when you hear 140 to 88, that's just terrible. So Jaylen Brown, as you were kind of talking about, Adam, he went off for, I believe, 19 first quarter points. So I don't really know what the strategy was there. I mean, he led the Celtics with 29. Tatum had 27, and you're right. You bring up a good point that all these games really do matter for the Warriors. They don't really matter as much for the Celtics, and I say that because they now have an 8.5 game lead in the East over the Bucks. Celtics have won 11 in a row, and the Bucks have won 5. So, but tough for the Bucks. I mean, it's working out for them. Good for them, kind of after the break for the Bucks to get after it, but there's nothing that they can do. I just think that the Celtics are kind of the best team in the league right now, and there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, Celtics' longest win streak of the season so far with 11, which is pretty impressive for them. It was Jason Tatum's birthday. You didn't say happy birthday to him.
Oh,
yeah. You didn't say happy birthday to him.
Big Deuce.
He's now only 19.
He's still 19. He is still 19.
But his mind is older.
Yeah. He's 27 now.
Someone's going to get that reference. They better.
27 now, so he had 27 on his 27th. I guess his
26th
birthday.
26.
His 26th birthday.
There you go.
So anyways, it was the third highest margin in Celtics history, and an NBA record third 50-point win for the Celtics this season, which is really just an impressive regular season. I still feel like it might just be a regular season team, but so far they're having a pretty electric run throughout this regular season.
Yeah, and I want to stay on the topic of the East here before we move to the West. I was thinking about, something came into my head, but I was like, you know what? Why not just split it between Eastern and Western? Pacers are on a little bit of a slide now. We talked about it a little bit a few weeks ago where I said that I expected the 76ers to take a little bit of a dip, as well as the Pacers. The Pacers have slid to the 8. The Heat are up in the 7, and the 76ers and the Knicks are just kind of in the same spot. But something that to kind of keep an eye on is that Tyrese Halliburton is definitely in a big slump right now. I wouldn't say it's necessarily the main reason why the Pacers are just 2 out of 3 in their last 5. But the numbers are just not good. I mean, in the past 2 games, Halliburton is 0 for 12 from 3. 12 points total in back-to-back losses, 129 to 102 to the Pelicans, 117 to 105 at the Spurs. So, it's on the road, but those numbers, that is a clear slump. Still averaging 20.8 points. So that speaks to how well he's been doing so far. But kind of tough for the Pacers in that spot. They're kind of taking a dip. That's not easy for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's been extremely tough for them because they've relied on one player. And you can see what happens when Tyrese Halliburton isn't playing great in his last 10 games, averaging just over 14 points a game. And obviously his assist numbers are still going to be there. But he's the whole initiator of their offense. And you looked at when the Pacers were playing great before the in-season tournament, after it, it was because Tyrese Halliburton was playing like a top 5 player in the league. And I don't think he's on that level of the Steph Currys, the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders, the Luka Doncic's of the league. And the Pacers need him to be that because they have no defense.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. They do need him.
To be fair to the Pacers, though, they did face up against Wemby, who had 6 blocks for the fifth out of the last 6 games. He's had 5+ blocks, which is pretty incredible.
Right.
So
you can't.
Hey, they've won 2 in a row. This is a good
true.
Spurs team.
You can't blame the Pacers falling. That's what I was saying earlier. You can't blame the Pacers falling solely on Halliburton because if they're going to play
when
well,
TJ McConnell's your highest scorer of the game, I don't know.
No,
what
you can't
you're
blame him
doing.
because he's had such a good first half. It's like, I think that the Pacers just need a little bit more help. I mean, I know they just
not when
they
he's a
do
max
have
player.
Pascal.
That's
Yeah,
actually, that's a great point.
They do have Pascal.
No, I know,
also
but it's just
was
like you still
outscored by TJ McConnell.
Yeah, I know, but you still need you can't really blame it solely on Halliburton. I mean, it's a whole team kind of wide thing right now with them kind of slumping right now, but they do really rely on him, but they also need him to be like God to move up playoff spots. I mean, their whole goal right now is just obvious. I mean, it's obvious, but just don't fall out of the play
and try on defense.
Yeah,
what are they doing?
I mean, they're fine. They're fine in the 8. It's like they're fine in the 8. They're 34 and 28. Bulls are 28 and 32. They're not catching up, so it's fine.
They still lead the league in scoring per game, which is really the Pacers thing. They average 123 a game, which is pretty wild actually to average that much a game. But the defense is just not there, and I don't think it will be until they trade for someone. Although hypothetically, Pascal and Miles Turner is a solid defensive combo, just has not worked out so far.
And also sticking with the East, we're just going to keep doing that. Is Joel Embiid update for Joel Embiid? His estimated return date is still April 2nd, which is maybe not. That doesn't leave much time for the rest of the regular season. But on March 3rd, Katie George, ESPN reported that Embiid knee has started on-court workouts and is back to 100% in the weight room. So it's still kind of an estimated return date. You don't really know what, but obviously very good news for the Philadelphia Sixers that it's not worse. And Tyrese Maxey has been playing very, very well in these past 5 games.
They're not going quietly. They're not.
No, they're not.
Just
and I thought that they were gonna, slip up somewhere. But they haven't necessarily. Maxey 24 points, 33, 32, 24, another 2 times, 3 and 2 in their last 5. So good on Maxey to kind of step up when needed. I still think that a slip is maybe coming in somewhere. So who knows? I mean, they're tied with the Magic right now, or separated by half a game. They're also close to the Heat and the Pacers. Aiden last week was saying that the Heat, might be able to make a few jumps up the standings, but definitely good news. I don't know if you have any foresight on the 76ers, what you think.
I mean, I think teams just don't want to face him in the playoffs with Joel Embiid there, if he's healthy or not. Magic do not want to face Embiid, the Knicks, the Cavs. I think they'd all be underdogs to the Sixers if Embiid's in the lineup. 70-80% Joel Embiid is better than not having him. The problem is, down the road, how much could this recovery hurt him if he really needed a full surgery or whatever, and you're just kind of skipping some of those steps? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, what are they right now? They're the 5 seed. I think if they end up as a 5 or 6 seed going into the playoffs, that gives them a solid first round matchup that Embiid, who's normally not actually pretty terrible in the playoffs, gives him a chance to get an easier matchup first round. I mean, they're 6-8 since Embiid has gone down, which is honestly much better than I thought. I thought Tobias and Maxey just horrible defensively, but they've sort of figured it out. They've won 2 in a row. I think they're 5-5 in their last 10, and there's sort of a road for them to stay in the 5, 6, 7 spot. Obviously, if they go down to 7, I could see them that they're in the play-in. They have to win a game to get in. But if they could stay 5 or 6, there's a road for them to get an easy first round draw and try and make a little noise with Embiid back.
Yeah, and also some injury news as well. March 1st. I want to make sure that. Okay, yeah, here it is. March 1st, Scotty Barnes for the Raptors. Fracture to the 3rd metacarpal bone of his left hand and is out indefinitely. So yeah, his estimated return date along with Embiid is kind of that April area, but that's kind of tough. You know, I think when you think of the Raptors, like you think that they're very irrelevant, but I mean, they're still somewhat close to the play-in. I mean, they're only 3 games out to the Hawks in the number 10.
They're almost definitely out now.
No. Why?
Yes.
Scotty leads them in every...
Yes. Sorry. I was like, yeah, sorry. I misinterpreted what you said. Yeah, so that's really tough for them. They're probably screwed now with Scotty out, even though that Trae Young, his return is still kind of in that April area. And also, I mean, the Nets have been making it hard, you know, the Hawks' lives like miserable because they just won 2 games to even out the standings. So yeah, that's kind of tough for the Raptors because I guess they had like a chance of getting to that play-in, and with Trae Young out, and now they really don't.
Yeah. So. Once they sold Anunoby, Siakam.
Yeah, I mean, you could also make an argument for that was kind of like the tipping point, but I mean, there was still an avenue for them to maybe get into the play-in a little bit, and now it's just all gone. Yeah, they could have with Scotty out.
It's more like for the Raptors fans, them trying to be competitive, but that team is just going to be awful to watch now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then moving up the lat. Or go ahead.
I like Scotty. He leads them in every statistical category. Yes. He's the only player in the league to do that. Yeah. So he's literally their whole team. I mean, they've quickly, and RJ has actually been out for a little bit. I think he missed a game or 2.
That's pretty impressive.
But I mean, they're at the bottom of the standings. I think they're trying to reload. They have some good young talent with Quickly as well. So I didn't think they were trying to make it like have a nice playoff run here.
Yeah, and kind of climbing up the ladder, getting back to the light,
the relevance.
In the standings. The Knicks, Jalen Brunson last night, Sunday night, suffered a knee contusion. It was kind of like a non-contact play where he's going up for a jumper. That's not going to necessarily be the make or break. I mean, he's listed his day-to-day, his return date is tomorrow. Obviously that could change maybe a few more days after that, just for the Knicks to be careful as well. But I think they're fine. Like I don't think this is really going to make or break the Knicks. I mean, OG has also been out, but he's going to be back soon too. Same with Julius Randle. So I think if Brunson is estimated to return soon, and OG and Julius Randle are both March 12th, even if the Knicks kind of err on the side of caution with Jalen Brunson to return, the name of the game is just, hey, let's just survive, and maybe even go 500 just for this next stretch until those players get back, because the Knicks may be poised for a run or kind of a late season push. You don't necessarily know, obviously, but I mean the Cavs are cooling down from their run earlier. So Knicks are only 3 games out of that, 3.5 games out of that. So if they can just kind of stay afloat while those guys come back, so yeah, I mean big games coming up with the Knicks. Hosting the Hawks, and then they get the Magic, and then 2 games against the 76ers. That's going to be really, really fun to watch upcoming as well. So, yeah, that was just kind of a wrap up on the East, unless you guys have any other things to add about that.
You want to talk Knicks a little bit?
Yeah, I'll talk a couple things. Obviously, the Knicks beat the Cavs yesterday, and that was a great win for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cavs were without Mitchell, but like you mentioned, Knicks, Brunson injured in the first minute, Randall out, Anunoby out, Mitchell Robinson out. The Knicks want to draw the Cavs in the playoffs. That's what I will say, because, I mean, Josh Hart had a triple-double.
It's that time of year.
And sorry, forgot to forgot to mention the score of that Knicks game. They won 107-98 over the Cavs. Just wanted to put that out there. But go ahead, continue.
I mean, that's all I had to say. The Knicks wanted to draw the Cavs.
The Brunson injury looked so bad.
Yeah, it kind of did. It looked kind of like scarier, but he's going to be okay.
Non-contact. Thibs said he just bumped knees, which is really lucky for the Knicks to get out of that because, I mean, they're down all their all-stars. Once Brunson will miss a couple games, they're down to just Josh Hart and DiVincenzo. Miles McBride, I think, played like 45
He
minutes.
was good, actually.
He played very well, but Thibs had him running. Thibs had him out there whole game. I think it'll be a little rough for them, although they do have some pretty easy matchups. I think the next game is against the Bulls, which is pretty, they can win that one without their entire team. But yeah, like you said, trying to draw the Cavs. I think they'll get healthy, closer to the playoffs is really what they're looking for, and just trying to piece together this team that's really had a pretty terrible injury luck throughout the whole season.
Absolutely.
We going out west?
Yeah, we're going out west.
Oh,
I
man.
need to. No, I'm going first. I'm not letting you go first.
Hey, you're the host.
Go ahead. So out west yesterday, Clippers, or I guess I should just say Sunday night. Clippers beat the Wolves 89-88 in maybe the worst 2-minute drill basketball from the Timberwolves that I have ever seen. There was clips of it on SportsCenter. It was just really awful. Timberwolves within one possession. Chance to go down, tie it. And they dish the ball out to Towns on the perimeter, who's being guarded by Harden. I mean, Towns peels off a screen, goes out to the perimeter, and it's kind of just, all hell breaks loose. It's like you should be throwing that ball down into the paint. The Wolves should have at least gave themselves, a chance to really get back in it. But Anthony Edwards dunks with 3 seconds left, but by that point,
what he was doing.
It was too late. So that was just a really terrible play calling in finishing the game.
And Kawhi with the heads-up play at the end. Touch the ball?
Yeah,
you never see that. That was a big play by him.
So now what happens because of that is that, maybe that's not a game like that the Wolves should win because of that late game scenario, but they certainly should have handled it way differently than they did. And the Thunder won last night, so the Timberwolves are now on a 2-game skid, and they are out of first. Thunder are in first, 42-18. Wolves are 42-19. And also the Nuggets, don't sleep on the Nuggets. They won 6 in a row to be tied with the Timberwolves in second. So very, very, very cool race happening right now in the West. It's going to be fun down the stretch with 3 teams all within half a game. And also the Clippers getting the win, they're also in the race as well in the 4 spot.
Only second time in NBA history, the top 3 teams have been separated by just a half game. Happened 2 years ago, but never before that.
Yeah, no, it's been really fun to watch.
I will say that the Timberwolves, this is kind of your worry about them in the playoffs is what is their half-court offense going to be? And that's why everyone thinks if they draw
it was bad.
If they draw
it was a bad play call. Yeah. I will say it just didn't make sense. Whether you design a good play call and you miss a shot, that was just bad.
Right. Yeah. So, if they draw the Lakers or the Warriors, they're not going to be favored. People aren't going to like that. I do not think they will be the favorites in Vegas. Also, it was
what? Wait, no way.
If they draw the Lakers or the Warriors, the Timberwolves will not be the favorites.
Really?
I do not think so.
Dude. Yeah. That's just more of a league thing. But yeah.
Now, I'm just saying what Vegas is going to say. I'm not saying if I agree with it, but I do. But anyways, it was playoff form for both teams. Harden 0 for 10, 0 for 6 from 3. Playoff P, brutal. 5 for 16. Karl-Anthony Towns, 7 for 18. And then both teams in the half court you have questions about. But especially the Timberwolves. This team feels like a really good regular season team. But in the playoffs, you're just not sure what's going to happen. And you could say the same thing for the Thunder. But
for the Wolves? You're saying the postseason?
Yeah, but you could say the same thing for the Thunder. They don't have experience, but the difference is they've been so good in the clutch this year. I mean, do you trust many more players than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to take a shot, with your team down 2?
Well, I mean, this team reminds me of that Jazz team 3 years ago where they dominated the regular season just by hitting 1 billion threes a game. And then they got to the playoffs and it was like, oh, we're making 15% of our threes now instead of the 40% we were making this season. And the Wolves are kind of in that same boat. They're hitting nearly 40% of their threes for the whole regular season. And that leads to a lot of really good wins. But like this was an 89-88 Clippers victory. Horrible offensive game. That's not one that the Wolves are really going to be able to get out of in the playoffs.
No, there's not a chance. No, because that's what I'm saying. If they draw the Warriors, do you think the Warriors are going to score less than 90 points?
No.
But also,
I didn't think this Clippers team would score less than 90 points either. This is a good offensive team.
Yeah, I mean, but they have playoff Harden. That's the difference. 0 for 10.
I don't know.
Hey, at least they got the win.
And they did.
With the
way that the Warriors played yesterday, it's like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, but the difference was going up against, an extremely hot
the
team.
almighty Celtics.
I know, that's true.
At least in the regular season.
Yeah. So kind of, jumping around the standings, got some injury updates from today. Actually, Devin Booker of the Suns is expected to miss 7 to 10 days. So that's kind of, that's kind of tough because they're trying to cling on to the 7th spot. It's really anybody's race right now, and that kind of cliff of 5 through 10, actually, as you were talking about with the Warriors in the 9, Lakers in the 10, the Suns are in the 7, and that's kind of anyone's game. It's kind of really cool to see, actually, how there's kind of 2 subgroups in the West where you have like the upper echelon teams that are all separated by half a game. Kind of the same thing in the 5 to 10 cliff that's going on right now. So, yeah. But sorry, jumping back to the Thunder, just because we were talking about it and you were talking about postseason experience. How about Gilgeous-Alexander in these past sort of 5 games has been kind of on fire. 35 points against the Suns last night, and mind you, 0 for 5 from 3. So even if that was 2 for 5 or even one more, you're getting more points out of it. 2 rebounds, 1 assist away from a triple-double. So, yeah, 35 points, 31, 31, 36, 30 in the past 5 games. Kind of ridiculous. He looks incredible last night. Maybe creeping up on Jokic, the MVP.
I think so.
People online call him Mr. 31-point man because it's kind of become his thing to just consistently hit 31.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I know I talked everyone's ear off last week about the MVP race, saying that, Luka might make a climb up if the Mavericks start to play really, really well. But I don't know. I mean, I still think it is a really interesting conversation. I'll try not to talk as long as I did last week. But I do think it is interesting, kind of the voter tendency. Like, if Jokic didn't get it last year, then maybe, he's in line to get it this year, regardless of what Luka or Shea do as well. But I mean, Shea's making a case. I mean, the best team in the league or best team in the conference right now, playing good basketball. He's kind of a catalyst for that. So I don't know. I guess we'll kind of see where it goes. What do you think about it?
I mean, I think it's definitely possible. I think people are too focused on like the playoffs and being like, oh, Jokic won a title, he should get MVP. Like, I think Jokic is still the favorite. But people are like, oh, Shea doesn't have playoff experience. That's why, he shouldn't win MVP. That's not what it's judged on. It's a regular season award. So I don't know why, it keeps changing. Although I will say, like, when there were MVPs in, like, the early 2010s and the 2000s, it was just, like, best player on the best team. But it's very hard to judge that now when Jokic and Shea are putting up just, like, and Luka are putting up monster stat lines. Like, how often do you see like 30, 10, and 10 games in the 2000s? Yeah. Not very often. Now it's just a regular.
Yeah. I think there's a world where Shea wins it, but not this year. Although they're going to end up top 3 in the West. So are the Nuggets. So it's not like if Denver was having like a terrible season, like Jokic won an MVP when his team was like the 6th seed, which was like the lowest seed to ever win an MVP. But this year they're also going to finish top 3. So I just don't think there's really a case against Jokic as much as there would have been in previous years. Like, I mean, even last year when Embiid won it, there was like a pretty clear, like Embiid was the scoring leader. Like he deserved it. He was a scoring leader. And Jokic's playing on one of the best teams in the league, playing like the league's best player. Ultimately, he deserves it this year.
I will say, though, Luka should not be in the race.
You don't think so?
No, I mean, you're 8.5 games back from the 1 seed. I don't care if you put up 30-point triple doubles. Anyone watch Luka Doncic on defense? He's a cone.
I saw his stats. Did you see the video on Twitter where he just stood there?
Yeah. Oh, the one on Jaylen Brown?
Yeah.
So also in that game, he had like 35, 10 assists. So he created like 50 points? Well, he gave up 30 points on 70% shooting. So, like, he only really created 20 points of benefit. Like, Shea's a great defender. That's what people don't realize. And Jokic is able to use his defensive ability enough to, like, hang in there.
To, like, affect the play.
Right, to affect. He's not
Jokic's an underrated defender. He's much better than he used to be.
Right, he doesn't get bullied by Anthony Davis every time. So,
moving down in the West standings, I have to go to the Spurs in last place right now, but that's not why I'm going to the Spurs. Just kind of a Wemby watch almost. He's been playing pretty well as of late. 6 of the 7 last games getting a double-double. And also in that 7th game that I was just talking about, triple-double, 27 points. I know that was kind of a while ago, but just looking at the stats, in total, February 12th, 27 points, 14 rebounds, 10 blocks. So, he's on course. He is on his way to, becoming the 7th player to average 20 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 3 assists per game. So, that is incredibly impressive. So yeah, he's the Spurs are the Spurs. They got the number 1 pick for for a reason. But it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that he's been kind of putting on a show. Regardless, and he kind of draws that superstar effect, regardless of how poor the Spurs have been, worse than the Blazers. So
I mean, Wemby is he's doing everything he can. I think it's pretty clear at this point that he is like the next face of the league. It's becoming very obvious to everyone. This team is like a solid. If you watch any Spurs game, his teammates miss him on plays all the time. It's really often. And I like Trey Jones. I think Trey Jones is a good point guard. But
how about Sohan?
Sohan does not pass the ball nearly enough for being Jeremy Sohan. I mean, they're getting some good wins down the stretch here, but ultimately this team, they got the first overall pick for a reason. The only thing they really did this offseason was add Wemby, which obviously, yes, leads to probably all 13 of these wins were all Wemby wins. I think this team is more set up for an incredible future. They'll probably have another top 5 pick this offseason, which really gives them a lot of flexibility to maybe go out there and trade for a guy like Trae Young, who a lot of people claim is very, very upset with his situation in Atlanta alongside DeJounte Murray, who I also would like to see back in the Spurs. I don't know why they wouldn't do that, but I think this Spurs team is more set up for the future than they are for right now. Although Wemby is having like an all-time great rookie season, probably will end up being a top 3 rookie season ever.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and Chet's also having an incredible rookie season. That if Wemby wasn't here,
the stat was he would become only the 7th player, like the stats I was doing. I mean, that's incredible. Only as a rookie. So,
as a rookie,
sure.
he's an incredible. He's already getting up there as like a top 15 player in the league, and it's only his first season.
It's not just about the blocks. Like, how many times does he just make someone not go to the rim? It is absolutely incredible just how many shots he defends. He's an absolutely ridiculous talent. But I love the Trae Young thing. Oh man, that'd be great. I mean, Trae Young to Clint Capella looks just fantastic. Just imagine him as someone like actually good at basketball who can do more than dunking.
Do you think that before we go back to the East, because I have a question for both conferences, and I know it's still early. I mean, there's still more than a month in the season, but I just think, based on the 3 teams at the top being so close together, who do you think's winning? Who do you think's winning the East? I mean, sorry,
regular
the West.
season?
Yeah.
Oh, ultimately, I think let me look.
Let you look.
Let me.
Oh, you're looking at
Denver.
Strength of schedule.
Denver has the 19th best, so one of the harder strength of schedules going ahead. They're all kind of the same. Minnesota's at 15, Oklahoma City's at 17. I think ultimately it'll probably just come down to Minnesota and Oklahoma City, but they're only separated by like 1 game, and I really don't think. Like, it honestly might be better for Denver if they get the 3rd seed and then get an easier draw than if they're out of the running for the 1st seed. My vote's for Oklahoma City, though. They feel like a good regular season team.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma City is going to win the West in the regular season. I just think Shea plays like every game. They've been so good in clutch games. But I'll tell you what, I mean, the number 1 most feared team out of the West in the playoffs is by far the Denver Nuggets. It's not even close. You look at how they play against every contender. Jamal Murray doesn't show up against any bad team. That's how you know you're a contender when Jamal Murray drops 35 points on like 70% shooting, including like some wild baseline turnaround that he makes look so easy. But yeah, it should be interesting. I feel like a team we also haven't talked about at all is the Kings. They've just been kind of silent in the 6th spot, and they pushed the Warriors to 7 last year. I guess they're just, the Kings after all.
It's the Sabonis effect. I'm telling you. Did anyone else see the tweet that was like, if Sabonis drops 100, I would not care because it's Domantas Sabonis. He's so good, but I don't know. The beam team effect has worn off, and they're not really like as big in the media as they were last year. Although I think they're a solid team. Also, like the Pelicans are 5th. They have Zion. I feel like they should be more talked about, but they're just not.
No, Stephen A. talks about Zion.
Well,
clearing the table.
Yeah.
Well, something that's interesting to keep an eye on for the West is that the Nuggets and the Timberwolves are going to play each other 3 times in the remainder of the regular season, and the Nuggets and the Thunder won't play at all for that remainder. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. But
that's a good point. But that's what, like, the Thunder, all their hardest opponents are out east. Like they played the Celtics and the Bucks.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
So that's probably going to be a big decider in terms of 2 seed, but you'll have to see how obviously the Nuggets and the Wolves play against the other opponents. But something that is just insane is I just can't get over this Celtics win last night over the Warriors. I mean, I don't know. Sorry, going back to the East. I don't know if there's really anybody that can challenge the Celtics. And I think that it's maybe just a little bit mundane to be like, oh, okay, Celtics are like number 1 best team in the league. Like they're going to win the finals. Like, sometimes it's not a trendy pick to pick the best team, thinking that a fall off is going to come somewhere. But it's like Celtics are making the finals no problem. I mean, they're 33-6 against Eastern teams. I mean, that's just insane. I don't think there's anybody that challenges the Celtics.
Well, I will say as a Celtics fan, the thing that haunts you is getting into a close game. The reason the Celtics look great, if they're hitting threes, I promise you, there is not going to be a single team in the NBA who's going to beat them. If they're shooting 40% from 3 on 50 attempts and their defense is terrific, they're going to be nearly impossible to beat. You worry about if they get into a close game, maybe in the East, it's going to be tougher for a team. I think the Bucks are really the only ones who can challenge them. But if they face the Nuggets in the clutch, who are you taking in the clutch? There's absolutely no way I'm taking the Boston Celtics.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big word.
What do you mean? We saw it earlier this
point.
season. And maybe the Celtics blew that game. And
so what's the pick? You think it's Celtics Nuggets in the finals? I mean, because based on that, it's like the Thunder don't have any postseason experience. The Timberwolves don't have as much. The Timberwolves don't have as much. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that anyone's really challenging. I mean, maybe the Bucks.
I think if they can get on track with their defense, but once again,
being the 1-2, it just leaves time for the Bucks maybe to lose or someone to lose. It's like it would probably be not that common.
I'd be worried about the Bucks. Do not want to draw the Celtics early. The Celtics probably don't care as much, but they'd still probably be, the team they least want to face. But at this point, with their defense, the Bucks just don't really have the personnel to guard the Celtics like they used to. Like they picked up Jay Crowder to guard Tatum and Brown. Like, are we serious? Like Crowder.
So what's the biggest fear for the Celtics then?
I think it's Heat. I like the Heat.
Yeah, it's actually a good pick.
Heat. Yeah, it is the Heat.
I will say that I've totally forgot about the Heat somehow, even after they lost them 3 years in a row, 2 years in a row. But yeah, the Heat, and the big thing about it, besides Butler, is the coaching.
Yeah,
obviously Mazzulla's a great coach in the regular season, but Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the league. This year, they've had no problem with what the Heat are using, and that's because of Porzingis and being able to beat the zone. So, but they have to stay healthy. That's the other. But I will say, Brad Stevens building this team, I mean, this has to be paid off. Like, how in the world is the NBA letting them get Holiday and Porzingis for Smart and also acquiring 2 second-round picks?
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. I think it's tough though. There's a graphic showing yesterday of like teams that have the Celtics in history when they've gone on to like be the best team in the league, and do they win the finals that year? I think most times were yes, but
that's all in the 60s. But
no, it was recent.
08.
It was recent too, and also and also late 90s too, right?
Oh, what do you want?
Yeah,
I mean there are
late 90s as well, but it just kind of seems like a weird pick. I don't know, or not like a weird pick, but it's like someone's gonna come, like someone's gonna usurp them.
The only true teams that the Celtics are probably worried about are the Bucks and the Heat. I don't think there's
Anybody else? No.
I don't think there's any other teams that they're genuinely like, if we match up with them, we might not win. Like, I don't like the Celtics. If they play the Knicks in the second round,
the Cavs
they're
are probably
going to
cool
win by a
down
lot.
too. Cavs are going to cool down too because they were playing out of their mind.
I do not trust the Cavs.
No.
It's all hero ball from Mitchell, and that's
I know
why the Knicks won.
Yeah, but I mean,
let's say the Cavs
were
face
playing
up
so
against
well.
the Sixers. I'll take the Sixers. Against the Knicks. Bucks, I'll take over the Cavs. Celtics, Magic, I'll take over the Cavs. Heat, I'll take over the Cavs. Pacers, I'll take over the Cavs.
All right.
The Bulls, I'll take the Bulls.
Let's do it.
Or I'll take the Cavs.
We are running out of time. We're getting to at the buzzer. So let's look at today and tomorrow's games, or if you already have picks, go ahead. I'm gonna start today, 8:00 Monday, 8:00. Clippers versus the Bucks. That's going to be an interesting matchup to see, but that's kind of all I've got for today, unless there's something else really catches your eye.
I mean, Thunder Lakers is the late game on NBA TV, which is that's a solid matchup.
You can go from the 8 to the 10:30.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a good platter on NBA TV tonight.
Oh, you don't want to watch the Wizards Jazz in between?
No,
it's not on national.
No. Tomorrow, I think it's just kind of Celtics Cavs, kind of what we were just talking about. I think that's kind of it. Oh, and also Suns Nuggets.
I also like.
Look at that.
Pacers,
Look at that. Look at
Mavs.
the today with the 8 and the 10:30 game, and then tomorrow the 7:30 and the 10 game.
Pacers
Look
Mavs
at that.
at 8:30.
Go watch those 4 games.
Pacers
That's a
Mavs
good
at
slate.
8:30 could be like a 150, 145.
Yeah,
type
that's a good
game.
point. Yeah.
And that's the type of basketball I like to see.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, the Pacers don't play, and Halliburton has kind of been slumping, so it'll be kind of interesting to see how the status of Halliburton's slump versus Luka just averaging like these 30-point games. So yeah. So today, Monday, Clippers Bucks, and then also Thunder Lakers, just to make Ethan happy. I don't know if I'll be watching that game.
That's a good game.
You got anything on Tuesday?
And then Tuesday, Celtics Cavs 7:30, Pacers Mavericks
Wow.
8:30, and then the Suns and Nuggets at 10. So yeah, I guess kind of a good slate for tomorrow setup. But yeah, I think we'll wrap it there. So I've been your host, Matt Byrne, joined by co-host Ethan Mazel, Adam Oppenheim. Aiden Mattel is pushing the buttons for us today. Remember, if you make it, you take it, and we will see you on Wednesday with the new crew. So long.